Good practice session. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Today is a wonderful day. It's a grand day. To many of us who are Americans, there is a president, ex-president down in New York, I believe, who's being brought into court so he can be held accountable for some of the evils that he's done on this nation, some of the ugly things that he's done to expose the deep ugliness of this nation. And a lot of people are excited about it. A lot of people are upset. But I want you to know that there's a difference. And I also want you to know that this difference, my friend, there is no in between heaven or hell. It is either there or not. So what I'm going to talk to you about is this. Heaven, most folks don't know what heaven is. But when you think about heaven, you're thinking about a perfect place. A place that we say exists because we had nothing to do with it. It exists, but there was another power that caused it to exist. And we happen to be in that existence. And there are certain things that we require, need, want, and all of that, the resources to cause a manifestation of that exist. It might be in the earth, on the earth, above the earth, seen and unseen, or in us through our minds and our hands and our feet. It gives us the ability to build. And since we respect that all of the things that exist outside of us is some another source, and we do have the power to do buildings as well, and yet those things that are desired are coming amongst me, are coming amongst us all. And we, my friends, learn by the harmony of the earth and that which the earth does to recognize what that creative power is about. And so this is what we reflect and depict in our daily lives. And the main thing of it is this. We don't recognize that there are things that are coming for our existence, like food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, transportation, and all the things really that have been made by the hands of man. We did it, and yet we have provided for our living, for every human being that requires food, clothing, shelter, education, health care. And they all do. So we use the resources, we use what we require to build what we want. And now it's available to all of us. That's heavenly. That's heavenly. And we, having done that, we live in peace. We're prosperous. We live free. We live joyously, happily, and we live our dreams. Our needs, our wants, and our desires are met when we want them to be met. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, we've taken a situation as builders. We've expressed ourselves through our honesty. And what we have built is heavenly. And since we've built heaven stuff, we live in that heavenly life. And when we are old, you can't tell it. It's just as smooth as it was when we were babies. Life is just like that. So I ask you, what do you want? You got a problem with that heavenly life? Well, if you reject that heavenly life, there's another life that you can choose. And it's not heavenly. We call it hellish. We call it hellish because it does the opposite of what heavenly does. Here you got some people okay, others are not. In order for it to exist, you got deception, you got lying and cheating and stealing. And after you do these kinds of things, ladies and gentlemen, to people, you create poverty, which brings on more crime, more violence. And these changes that people have to go through, my friends, what do? They cause hatred and racism and bigotry. It causes terror and war. People are struggling for everything. Oh man, you got ghettos, you got lying, and all this stuff just don't, your whole system, everything in your system is corrupt. Just absolutely corrupt. And you got what? People hurting. You're attacking everything. You're building nothing. So what you have from the beginning is a destroyer who comes on with his corruption with one thing is to tear down everything. And by tearing down everything what life is supposed to be, you're creating hell. So when you've done that, you're now living under the hell that you've created. And Lord have mercy. You don't want to get old in a world like this. Because if you thought you went through some changes in your life because of the system that you live under, a system that had no familiarity with love, but was built on money and bosses, because on one system you got an invisible power that you can allow to live through you, that allows you to be as good as you can be. Or you got a man sitting on the throne, or a woman, who all they can do is represent themselves or their particular interests, which has nothing to do with you, and robbing you out of everything that God has prepared for you, but you don't know. So this is why I'm here. I'm here that this information is so important to you, ladies and gentlemen, that when I started it over 40 some years ago, I knew the world was like it is. I knew this is hell. I knew that when I stand up and start talking about this stuff, even though it's been 40 years that I've been talking about, you never heard me of me before, many of you. And what I talk about, that problem really don't mean that much to most of you because you don't think it's possible. The fact that I've taken this and ran for president a couple of times, just used the platform so I can educate you about the love of God and what is out there for you in your own hand. And you never heard of it before. And that's simply because the powers that be don't want you to hear. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, there is no in between, heaven or hell. You are either living and experiencing what I just described to you as heaven, or you are not. That means you're living in hell. And you're going through the lies, the cheating, the stealing, the killing, the money, and racism and bigotry. And you're going through the terror and the wars. They're talking about World War III right now. They'd rather World War III than to make things right the way they're supposed to be. All they want is to be the boss. If either a man want to be a boss or a gender want to be a boss. When I say gender, I'm talking about sexuality, or you just want to just anything. Even slave master. Sometimes it's just messing with me right now, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to saying some things that just wants me to get on back over here and check out and see what they're going to do in this court proceeding with these guys that's going on today. But I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your attention. One thing I want to say before I go, there is no in between heaven or hell. Those who are in heaven, there have been men in our lifetime that came through that represented living for heaven. A couple of them were Dr. King, Malcolm X, Gandhi, and some other folks that I might not even know of yet. But they represent heaven. Those are the ones that let us know that we're living in hell. And we have chosen to live in this hell because we are doing nothing to become like they. We'd rather live and rot than to do the right things. But the challenge is that you're still here in this hell. I'm here telling you this. So God has made a decision that you are just that important. That if the world turns its back on me, then don't, and you just totally reject, and I'm still living, and you're living even though I might be eating grass and drinking my own pee. If I'm doing that, I'm doing it because you are that important, not just to me, but to God. And because of God, which is a part of me, you and all of us are connected together. And this is why I'm here, to remind you there is no in between. You are in heaven or you're in hell. And you know darn well we are not in heaven. What are we going to do about it? Think about it.